Hi there. If you're watching this video, that means that you've done some great work, taken some pictures of that work, and you are ready to import it into your portfolio. So this video is going to show you how to do that. First, we'll take a look at some examples of how not to do it. Then we'll show you some good examples of it, and then we'll actually do it. We'll import some images into my slide here. So I've got a slide presentation. I'm calling it Sample Portfolio. Imagine that's my cover page or cover slide. Here's my second slide. Just it defines what a portfolio is, the purpose of it. Remember that over time we want to see how you guys have grown in your knowledge or your skill relative to art and the work that you've done. So let's take a look at some bad examples of artworks that have been imported into slides. This first one is bad for a number of reasons. Most obviously, you can see fingers there, so probably sometimes people will have a picture that's wrinkled or doesn't lay flat, and so they'll try to hold it down with their fingers, and this is the result if you're not careful. That's another good reason why we have margins around our work, so we can hold it down in the margin and take a picture of the artwork without our hands being in the art. The other issue with this one is you can see that there is a margin around the artwork up here and nothing on the sides or bottom. So let's avoid pictures like that, shall we? This photo is another example of what not to do. A lot of times students will try to take pictures of their artwork while they're sitting there. You know, it's best if you stand up, look down through your camera lens or your phone directly at your artwork. So just refer back to that slide or that video on how to take great pictures for your portfolio, and let's avoid stuff like this. We don't want edges that angle, and we don't want to see a table there in the background. Here's another poorly formatted slide. It's been imported, it hasn't been cropped, and you can see the table there. So we can do a better job than that. We want this to be a little bit larger, fill the slide, and get rid of the table. Another poorly done, poorly imported and formatted image. This one, obviously you can see the paper that was laid under the artwork to take the picture. You've got the shadow here. It hasn't been cropped. And then the other bugaboo that this slide has, and I see this more often than I care to, is the boxes, text boxes in the background that are unused. Let's delete those. We don't want those there, so get rid of them. These aren't too bad, these pictures. They could be a little bit larger, right? You could stretch it out a little bit so it's closer to the top and bottom of the slide, and then format it maybe so it's a little closer to the left edge. Sometimes you're going to have artwork that is a portrait format, so it's more vertical than it is horizontal, so it won't quite fit the slide maybe quite as nicely as we'd like it to, but we still want it to get as large as we can and still have it fit the slide. With that then, we've got two examples of pictures that are pretty well formatted. They're going horizontally, both that one and this one. You'll notice that in some artworks it matters which side is up. It's up to you to determine on if it's something non-representational or abstract, what's going to be up and what's going to be down. But these could be enlarged maybe a little bit. I like to maintain a uniform margin around the edge of the artwork in the slide. And then also, if you'll notice, there's a margin here around the image itself, the orange space. That's nice and even. The image is large. It fills the slide pretty well. So this is an example of a pretty good picture for your slides. This is the same image, just flipped. Okay. So here's an example of a student's slide from a past year, and you can see it's been enlarged to the point where it reaches the edges of the slide. It's nice and even on the sides. You can see a little bit of that black trim from the slide. It looks good with the black ink drawing. And then you'll notice here, the other thing that you guys will be doing with your portfolio is giving a short description and reflection on the work. This could be done on the slide itself, or it could be done down here in the notes on the slide. So whatever fits better. In some cases this doesn't look too bad. In some cases it'll fit well. on the slide, and in others it will be best to just leave it off the slide. So it's kind of up to you, but it should look good and it should be very clear. Notice that this text box does not overlap the image itself. So with that, let's go ahead and we're going to import a couple of images. Here's one that I've already done. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this 2 times. I'm going to go in and get rid of the image on 2 of those. Then I'm going to import another image in here, I think. Oh, there it is. So let's slide that down and in. And there's the other one. Let's pull that from my desktop into the slide. So there we go. So I've imported, I've got 3 slides here. I've imported the artwork. You can see that in the pictures that I've taken, these are actually on canvases. This one's square, and this one's a little rectangular. This one actually is meant to be between those 2, but not a big deal. So if this is my picture, I'm going to go ahead and format this so it fits the slide a little bit. I don't need all of this space around the picture. I took it over, it looks like maybe a sheet of paper or poster board. So I'm going to crop it. To do that, you double click it. That pulls up these black bars, which I can then pull in like so. And you'll notice my image is not, my artwork is not quite square with the photograph that was taken, so that's a bit of a bummer. Let's see what happens if I crop it right up to the edge. How does that look? Pretty good. Pull that in just a bit. Okay, so it's meant to be a square format. Now I'm going to, since I've cropped out space I don't need, I'm going to enlarge it so that it, by the way, if you crop something out and you want to go back and undo that, you can easily go up and undo it in your slides, or you can just go back, double click, and get your cropping bars, pull them back out where you want them again. So you can see the background that I cropped out is still there, you just don't see it. So I think that is just about good. For this picture. I'm going to position it. I like to position it to one side or the other a little bit generally. That way if I want to do my reflection, I've got some space to the side. Notice that I've positioned my artwork. It's about as big as I can get it. I could go a little bit bigger. Notice I'm pulling from the corners and not the side. We don't want to do this because that's going to mess up the proportions of your artwork. So let's go back and undo that. Always grab it to increase or decrease the size from the corners. So you enlarge it, click it. You can use the arrow keys on your keypad if you want to try to position it a little bit better. I think I like it better right there. And I'm going to reduce the size just a hair. Something like that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the process. Double click, crop out stuff I don't want. Obviously there's no margin around the artwork on these. And this one looks slightly crooked too, as far as the picture goes. Just about there. Shadow under the canvas on this one, so I'll crop that out. Bada boom, bada bing. A little bit more off the top. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to click it. I'm going to resize it from the corners so it fills my slide a little better. And if we're going to leave it heavy on one side or the other, I'd rather have it be a little heavy on the bottom. Cool. One more. Double click. Crop it. Unless you can crop the side and the top if you pull it from the corner. And for the opposite corner, I can do the bottom and the opposite side. Something like that. A little bit more. That was a little bit too much probably. Pull it out. Reposition it. And we're golden. I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to duplicate the slide, delete the image, I'm going to copy these. Let's show you something here. Control V, scale it down. Copy. Paste. Scale it down. Just going to show you my intention with these was that they would go together, which is going to make it a very long piece. This one yet. Copy. Paste. Scale it down. So I want these to be as large as I can have them and still fit the slide. So I'm going to go a little bigger with that one. A little bigger with that one. A little bigger with that one. Reposition them. Voila. So the concept behind these pieces were that they were kind of like a puzzle, and that they sort of visually fit together, or flowed together anyway, regardless of how you positioned them, based on the rule of thirds, which is something we'll talk about later this year. So there you go. So you see it's a very long and narrow image when I put the three together. So we just try to make them as big as we can, still have them fit the slide, and look sharp. So with that, you should be good to go. You've got great pictures of great work. Now it's time to import them into your slides so they look awesome. Nothing is worse than having really good artwork and then have either lousy pictures or lousy formatting on your slides. So work carefully, do good work, and that way your portfolio is always going to show your stuff in the best light possible. So thanks for watching, you guys, and do good work.